5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Sync.
Sync. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 233. Of the TTV podcast. I'm Meso.
I'm Broderan.
I'm Jonathan.
I'm Ben.
I'm Phweffie.
And I'm Tenebrae Invictus. Oh,
Whoa.
Whoa!
Okay, I see how it is.
Same.
You think that just because everyone thinks I'm you, you can be me?
Yeah, I'm Takuma Nuba.
Yeah, okay, and I am totally Tenebrae Invictus,
Yep, good swap.
Alright.
formerly
Somewhere
known
out
as
there.
Alive.
Some people are actually legitimately confused right now. Some listeners are just like, what? But I thought, what's going on? That's what they're thinking.
Yeah.
Invi's Invi. Takuma's
Thanks,
Takuma.
I thought that was mange, and actually, they wouldn't know who mange is.
Mardi Gras!
Hey, Mardi Gras, what's up? It's been a while since I talked to you.
My mom died!
Oh.
You sound like
And on the news this week.
I didn't like her anyway!
you sound like
okay.
you sound like Grandpa Simpson.
And
He
now
sounds
the
like Mardi
weather
Gras.
is gonna rain. Thanks, Ollie.
If you do that, they'll kill Grandpa. I'm part of the mob.
Don't kill Grandpa.
It already rained! What? My house away! I have nowhere to live!
What is this voice?
I don't
It's
know,
Mardi
you know
Gras,
what it sounds like? It sounds like the Microsoft text-to-speech thing. You know,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you know, when you turn up the pitch really high. Yeah. Like one of the characters in
Oh,
Revive
yeah.
I'm
Bionicle.
auditioning for reviving Bionicle!
Exactly.
What is
I
it?
mean,
Well,
Hey,
I can see it. Yeah, I can see it.
So, what is on the news this week?
Nope, we're not doing that.
Do it. I'll pay you
kibosh
$50
on
to
this
do that
already.
for the rest of the episode.
No,
Are you
don't.
are you being
No, you
serious
won't.
right now?
No, I won't.
Oh, man.
I'm not purple.
Never again.
She delivered though. I can't believe she did that.
Yeah,
I
I
can't
could
believe it
could
either.
promise,
That
but I
was
wouldn't
nice.
deliver.
That was pretty nice. And also,
what did you spend the $50 on?
Yeah, what did you spend it on?
I don't remember. I think I paid off my credit card with it.
Well, hey,
Well, that's not too
at
bad.
least that's being responsible.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Yep.
Purple.
Good on you.
Yeah, either that or
Wait, what do you mean pay off your credit card?
you know,
Bills, credit card bills.
yeah, man. When you
What
use
are you
your credit
talking
card,
about?
you got to pay it off over time. Wait a minute.
You,
And before
you have to
Mardi
pay
Gras,
off
no,
your
you-
credit card?
What?
Sigh.
What?
I don't know what you're saying.
Now you
anymore.
just max it out.
You're
As fast
confusing
as
me.
possible.
You know what
I-
else? You know
use
what else
it to
is
buy
really
money, right?
confusing
It's
me?
like a
Yeah,
gift
I thought the
card.
government
Buy
paid for
money.
your credit card.
Yeah, doesn't the
What are you
government
telling
pay
me
for
right
it?
now?
Dude, that's why we pay taxes, right?
Where's this coming from? I'm confused. Did LJ say this?
No.
Wow.
Sounds like something he would say.
Did LJ
Anyway.
like enforce a tinfoil hat over your head and you just don't know it?
Oh boy.
The tinfoil
Well.
hat thing.
No. You know what else is
Sam.
really confusing to me?
Okay.
This dream I had last night, right?
Oh boy.
here we go.
had
We
a
going in
dream.
dream hour?
Last time you
Let's
said
just-
that. Last time you said there was a dream. It was about a Megatahu, and then Bionicle came back.
Oh,
so-
this
And
had
the
nothing
Bionicle
to
came
do
back.
with
Dude,
Omega
your
Tahu.
dream is like the Falcon from Ninjago. Whenever we see it, the fortune comes. You know, we
Choose.
just...
Well, I hope
Your
this doesn't
words.
happen. So,
Oh boy.
Wisely.
Okay, let's hear it.
So
Let's hear it.
here's what happens in the dream, right? So I'm in this house, and it's a really nice house. There's like
Yeah,
a big
okay.
window with like a huge view of like a beach and stuff. Well, not really. Actually, not even a beach. More like a view of the ocean. Like I could see the ocean from there.
There was
And
ocean,
I'm-
but
and
no
I'm-
beach.
I woke up in the morning in this house, and I'm like, all right, gotta get ready for the podcast. Yeah. So I walk over to my computer desk, and this is already inaccurate because I don't record the podcast on a computer desk or anything like that. I record on my bed. So anyway, in the dream, walk over to the desk. I see it's like, oh, cool, just an hour left until recording time. I guess I'll just go grab some breakfast. Go grab a bowl of cereal. I walk back. I look out the window on my way to the computer desk, and I see some people like chilling in the water. I don't know why they're in the middle of the ocean, but they're chilling, swimming, having a good time.
Nice.
Then these sea lions come.
Oh.
And at first it's like, oh, these sea lions, they look pretty cool. I'm just swimming around, playing with the family. One of them leaps up to my window, and I got, I was on a balcony. I was on a balcony watching, and then the sea lion jumps up to the balcony and I accidentally kicked it in the face out of sheer fear.
Aw, that poor sea lion.
Rip sea lion.
I didn't realize that was a sea lion. I thought it was a monster. But anyway, so the sea lion, he like gets scared and flops back to the sea. So I'm like, okay. And then he tries it again. And this time he tries to bite me.
No.
This time I'm like, oh, nope. So I walk back inside the house, close the balcony door, and I just watch with all that closed. And then I see the family. They start to get attacked by sea lions. All these sea lions that I thought were playing with them. No, they're playing
They're, like,
with them in
emotionally
the same way that
blackmailing
you
you.
play with your food at the dinner table. Like these sea lions are ripping this family to shreds, and I'm like, oh my gosh!
They're emotionally
This is
blackmailing
horrible.
you. They're like, you come down here, we'll kill this family. I'm not messing around. He's like got the gun to like the family's head.
just like,
He's
hey,
I demand you come down.
Jillian, say that line right. I have your
I
entire
felt
family
like
here
I
with the sea
accidentally
lions.
triggered the sea lions by kicking their little brother in the face or something.
You
True
kicked
face
my
of evil
child.
right there. Sea lions.
Dude, sea lions actually attack people too. Some like on very rare.
Oh yeah, no,
occasions.
they're pretty aggressive.
No, yeah, I bet.
It's like dolphins. Did you guys know that dolphins are like the biggest like murderers ever? They just kill
Yeah,
anything
no,
that comes by
dolphins
them.
are just like
Yeah.
I mean, dolphins are
They're like total jerks.
vicious. They're just
I
insane.
can't help but
Horrible.
feel like that one story.
What is
that
the,
Mr.
there's
T
the
told
other,
about
um,
dolphins.
There's another animal that's similar to dolphins. They're like that starts with a P. Like a
Oh, porpoise.
porpoise. Yes, porpoises are adorable. They're pretty passive. They're like dolphins but fatter and like cuter. And they swim around and they're just like, yeah, I'm just a porpoise, minding my own business, just trying to find my porpoise.
Do you
And-
Dolphins are like, we're the best thing.
Porpoise.
Screw you up,
And then-
man.
No, poor porpoise comes over to say hi to a dolphin. That dolphin will kill that porpoise.
Oh yeah, that porpoise
Just
is
slaughter it.
dead.
I have never heard of this.
You know, I realized
Look it up,
like,
man.
Look it up
dolphins
and
to
be
be
friendly.
facts.
do you know what like I found out
facts.
the other day was
That's
like
an
actually
alternative fact,
quite
it's just
adorable.
true.
Like manatees are actually quite cute. They're like
What about
sea
My
cows.
little
manatees?
They
my
are sea
younger
cows.
sister is absolutely obsessed with manatees.
They're like
Maybe not as
it
much as
reminds
she
me
used
of
to.
like my first dog, Molly. She's like 14 years old and she's fat and she just kind of snorts and like makes weird noises. Like, oh my gosh, land dog meets sea dog.
I mean, technically, a manatee's called a sea cow,
Well,
but
sea cow.
sure.
Well, my dog is like a cow, but not
A
a
cow?
cow. It's a brown cow.
If anything, sea lions are like sea dogs.
How now,
Yeah.
brown cow?
But anyway, to conclude the story,
Right. Conclude your dream for us.
I saw there was a boat next to the family, or not really like right next to the family, because that'd be like the stupidest boat ever. But anyway, I call out to this boat, and the boat, they're like, hey, what's up? And I'm like, no, look, there's danger. Look over there. I'm like pointing to the family getting shredded by sea lions, and then they're like, oh, look at that. We gotta help them. So they sail to the family, and they save the family, and then it all goes happily ever after. And then finally, I'm like, all right, now I can relax, hop on for the podcast. Apparently 3 hours had passed, and I missed the podcast. So I'm like, what? Wait, what? No! And I remember in the dream I also texted Meso. I'm like, is it too late to join? And I never got a text back, and then I woke up.
Oh, that sucks, man. Fortunately, you are here.
So
Yeah,
not only did you witness,
I woke up and I'm like, oh, thank goodness, I can make it. That's like the only thing that
Dude,
went through my mind.
I had a weird dream the last couple of days that involved people from the podcast too.
That's a long dream.
Yeah, I know. It was really long. I've just been in a coma for the past couple of days.
he lived a whole other life.
Whole other life.
He married, had children, saw his wife pass away. He passed away of old age, and then he woke up and he was back here.
It was like Roy from Rick and Morty. I was just like,
Yeah,
what?
exactly.
What? I died at the carpet store? So here's what happened, right? So I took a nap. I've been actually going to bed at like 6 in the morning and then taking naps in the midday. Really bad for my sleep schedule. Here's what happened. So I'm in a restaurant, right? And I'm like looking around. I'm like, oh, cool. Then I see Phweffie and Phweffie's brother, who I've never met, but in this dream we're really good friends. So I'm talking to Phweffie's brother, and Phweffie is also hanging out with one of this random dude. Turns out, Phweffie is like, I'm just hanging out with this person. It's gonna be great. This other dude thought it was a date. So it's already kind of awkward. So it's becoming this like kind of awkward tension thing between Phweffie and this dude.
Phweffie, you
And
gotta
me
be
and
more
Phweff's
clear
brother-
next time.
Dude,
but,
I make it abundantly clear every time I speak to a guy.
I'm not going to confirm or deny that because I don't know.
I
you,
am
like,
Phweffie McFriendZone. Nice to meet you.
McFriendZone.
friend zone.
You could
Wow.
it's so clear you could
Well,
practically
to be
walk
fair,
through
in the
it.
dream, you were making it clear to him. He just didn't get it. He was just like a clueless dude. You know what I'm saying? And so what happened is that
Just like all the
he
rest.
like starts getting, he's like starts getting a little agitated. I mean, your brother like, all right, should we like do something? Should we get Fluff out of here? Before we can say anything, this crocodile comes up and he freaking eats this dude. He just like chews him up immediately, and we're like, not even chews him up, just swallows him whole.
Oh man.
I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. So we're like, okay, well, God, good, good thing we don't have to deal with that anymore. Let's just have let's have a good time.
Yeah, that's
So-
Crocodile.
safe.
We're like Crockett dead.
right. well, here's the deal.
That saved me from a
Crocodile.
It was Zach Tan in
that
disguise.
saves me from a restraining order at least.
Well, you would think
Less
so.
paperwork.
Guess what? The crocodile can talk. Through his crocodile, he also reveals that he is in love with Phweffie. And so now, we now have to be like, okay, so me and your brother escort you out of it. We're like, let's get out of here. This is becoming a little too
Excuse
fast,
me,
too
it's the
furious.
proper grammar is your brother and I.
Yeah, okay, Mom. And so I go and I take.
Oh, wait, I've got questions now.
Mama Var.
Did you make Kahi at
Mamar.
build a baby?
No, at the Chinese knockoff version of Build a Baby.
Whatever, close enough.
So we escort Phweffie out. We're
Build
running
a
through this.
baby.
Like, for whatever reason, our idea of like taking Phweffie somewhere safe is running down the middle of a highway. In this busy city. So we're
job.
running down. The cars are running past
Sounds pretty
us.
safe to me.
And it's like the crocodile's like dodging. He's coming behind us, and we're trying to find like equipment to build a shotgun. And so in my head, we're finding like pieces of cardboard and like a piece of like a firecracker and stuff on the road, and we're able to we're duct taping it together, and we're making like this.
Totally MacGyver it.
Yeah, kind of. I guess in my head, like this is how you make we're making an emergency shotgun, so this should work. And so we have it poised, and at the last second, Fluff's like, well, I mean, guys. The crocodile did save my life from this other dude, and we're like, "What? Are you serious right now?" And she's like, "Well, I mean, I don't want to be mean to it." And then we're like, maybe she just doesn't want to eat us. And the crocodile literally goes, "I want to eat the both of you, and then also marry Fluff or something." And we're like, "Okay, well, this is gonna be it." So
It's gonna be a little complex. You
It's
can't
gonna be-
you can't be married to somebody and eating them at the same time.
I know you can't have
Well-
your wife and eat it too, But anyhow, the dream ends with me I take the shotgun and we poise it and we fire it. And it's like a freaking rocket launcher. It explodes. I don't even know why in my head's called a shotgun. It's more like a rocket launcher. Freaking explodes everywhere. There's smoke. We're like, we got it. The crocodile crawls through the smoke and we're like, oh crap. And then I wake up. So rip me, I guess.
Get
I'm
ready
assuming
for
I died.
part
What the heck is with
two.
you guys' subconscious mind?
I don't
Dude,
know.
I don't know. I had a dream where I got killed by a train. Like I was on
Oh, that's amazing. I had a dream where I
train
killed you with a
tracks
train.
for some reason. Well, how ironic would it
Funny
have
how
been
that
if it
works.
was a sleep train?
How great would it have been if you both had that dream that night? If I was like, I'm in this train, I'm gonna run over Ben. And then Ben, you're like,
Hey!
what's with this train?
You're the one that yeah,
Ben's like in this really nice establishment. He's wearing a tux. He's on some sort of date or business meeting or something. All of a sudden, this train out of nowhere.
It just-
it
it's
doesn't
like
even-
an Inception. You know how that train just comes out of nowhere in the middle of the street?
it doesn't even
Dude,
make
we
any
should watch
like
Inception again.
it doesn't even make any like logical sense.
I'd be down.
It's like he's at the top of a building and like a train somehow comes through even though these are 200 stories high.
Dreams are dumb.
I had a
Dreams
dream that
are
I went to
pretty
the
dumb.
shop and
I-
bought chocolate and toilet paper. I don't know why.
That is such a boring dream.
You were trying to make a baby mummy.
Oh, I hate those dreams where I have a lot of stress dreams. I'll go into work. And I'll be like super
I
late.
have
You know what I'm saying? And everyone's like,
Oh yeah, I have those
why are
too.
you?
Or used to.
Yeah, it's like people are like really
that's
mad
what,
at you.
that's
late
basically
and
what
stuff,
I
and
had. I had a dream I was gonna be late to the podcast.
You
I had a
did.
dream where Meso took over the BZPC back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
It's like one
Yes,
of the lamest
master.
things to dream about. You dream about going up to your laptop and seeing a website get hacked.
Listen,
some-
man, you put a lot of your
some
time into
jerk.
that set. It was like, yeah.
I guess.
Well, hey,
Here
a
we are
bad
today.
dream can be like
Here we
just
are.
anything small. It could just be the fact that you go to a party and someone you don't like is there.
Yep.
It's like, well,
I had a dream where I asked out someone I liked, and they said no. And then I realized I was in a dream, and I started laughing at myself because like even in my dream, she couldn't actually say yes.
I feel like I heard that one before.
Yeah,
I had a
yeah,
dream where
yeah.
I got
Not
married
gonna
to
lie.
someone.
Sorry to hear
and
that,
I wasn't
Kahi.
even- I had a dream I got married to someone, but I didn't know who it was, and I wasn't even at the wedding. so I
oh
don't know how
yes,
it
you
counted.
told us about that, and it like you had to go into
I
this
did? I
like
probably
pyramid thing, and like there was creatures in there.
Yeah,
and
we went
you,
on
like,
our honeymoon
left
to
her
like
to
Egypt or
die.
something. Giant saber-toothed scorpion cats or whatever. I'm like, I'm out of here.
Meanwhile, I have dreams at work, or I have dreams where I'm like, the most interesting dream I had was like, I basically was diagnosed with like terminal cancer, and like
Diagnose.
for the rest of like the dream, I was just doing really crazy stuff in public. Like I went to the store like in a like horse and chariot because I didn't care.
And selling meth.
Sure.
Hey, might as well go out with a bang, right?
Yep.
Heisenberg.
Or a horse.
Heisenberg.
Dude, that's really ironic wording there. Have you seen Breaking Bad, Mange?
I have not.
Oh,
I cannot believe you said went out with a bang. That's crazy.
Wow, that is insane.
Irony.
I
Like
mean,
what?
it's not an uncommon
Yeah, I
saying.
mean, it's a common phrase.
No, I know. I'm just.
I know,
irony.
it's just irony because like that's very much like season 1 right there. It's awesome.
yeah.
Did you guys ever play that Lego browser game, Dreams?
No.
No.
I know it sounds
no.
familiar, but I've never actually played it myself. What was it about?
Oh, it
Does
was so much
sound
fun.
familiar.
It was okay, so it was a puzzle kind of game where a bunch of minifigures in colored pajamas are walking around. And okay, so they're walking at like a 45-degree angle from, you know, how you would position bricks on the boards or whatever. So the idea is that you have to direct all these sleepwalking minifigs to their same colored bed, and you had to like lay down bricks to create walls for them to kind of ricochet off of, so to speak.
I did play that game at a very,
But you
a
only
very
have so
early
many
point in
bricks
time.
to work
Yeah,
with.
it was only like when I was really young. I think I took it off the Lego site when I was like pretty early on for me. When I started visiting Lego, I remember that, and I also remember what was it?
Belts,
It was the one of the robot Junkbot.
Junkbot.
It was kind of the same thing where you had to
Oh,
like you had to
man,
make
I
the
loved
yeah
Junk-
you-
Junkbot for life.
Kind of, yeah. Except Junkbot is more like, it's a side scrolling or, just side view, whereas Belts was more of a top down.
top
Lego
down.
had a lot of really good
I
games.
maybe I'm thinking of something else. But yeah, okay, all right. Lego had back in the day, Lego's games were on point, and now they're not so
Oh,
much
yeah.
anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Dino Attack was one of
I
my favorites.
forgot about
Dino
Junkbot.
Attack was so
How can you
fun.
Dude, my favorite one was Alpha Team. Like you can.
I was just
drive
gonna say the
around.
Alpha Team, the ice
game
one.
was-
With the
They made a
transforming
freaking
vehicles.
RTS for Mars Attacks. That was no joke. That was like that was one of the. That wasn't one of the first RTSs I'd played. I'd played like Age of Empires before,
Oh,
but
man,
like
I
it was
forgot
still
about
really
that.
awesome. Like it was a free RTS, you know. And of course, like stuff like Monog and Monog 2, and like you know, like they had really
Monog
stellar.
was boring though. Let's be
Remember
real.
the
It was kind of boring.
No, sucks. Bionicle sucks.
Knights
R.I.P.
Kingdom or something like that?
The
Where they
Knights
had, like,
Kingdom
the big-
games. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, but the Johnny Thunder games too, where they had like this whole point and
Johnny
click
Thunder
adventure
was
game.
pretty good.
That was real fun.
Dude, the World Builder games. World Builder.
World
I
Builder.
never played any of those.
There's that one hacking game they had. They had like
Nightfall Incident.
the Nightfall Incident. Yeah,
That was one of my favorites
Whew,
of
boy.
all time.
those are some great games.
I can still kind of remember my strategy for beating the final boss, and it involved a lot of what were those drain ones that slowed things? Or like the super good ones. Can't remember what they're
I
called.
barely remember stuff about that game. I just remember it being fun to play.
Clog, that's it. Thank you.
freaking Lego Backlot. Man, Lego Backlot
Oh
2.
my
Do you
God.
I
ever play
remember
that?
John's
That's a
Let's Play
classic
of
right there.
Backlot.
Oh, I forgot about that. I should bring that back.
Funny.
I should do a new one with some people.
Part 2, 3 years later.
We should do part 2 3 years later. Yeah, just grab everybody on and be like, let's wait again. Takuma.
Man, it's weird. You guys are like
That's
unlocking like past memories I had buried deep
I know,
inside my
right?
head.
I know.
I don't even remember these games, but I definitely like looking at screenshots. Like they're so familiar that I had to have played them.
Well, back then, like it's so weird. Like now, because you know, kids nowadays they have so many games available to them.
Fair enough.
You're right.
Games have evolved a lot over the years. I've found like Lego's done like different priorities in what they do.
No, I discovered a trick early on too. You know, this was back when the internet was still kind of finding itself, if you want to call it that. What I found out is, because we still had dial-up at the time, a lot of these games, if you just if you're on the internet, you load them up into your browser, you could disconnect from the internet and still play them.
Yeah.
So, when your parents didn't want you sitting on the internet for hours because it was tying up the phone line, it's just like, when you just check the email for the day, you just pull up the games you want to play in the browser, disconnect, and you're good.
Oh, I remember having a phone line. Like,
yeah, it was like. Do you guys remember actually having a phone line?
Like a home phone, like a landline almost.
A
yeah,
what?
No, that is a landline.
What's a home phone?
What's
It's
a
a
line?
phone for your home.
Oh,
Phone.
I get it now.
Do you get it now? Anyways, a
it's funny
landline is
because they're
basically
kids
like
that don't get it.
it's internet and telephone. That's it. Really.
It's like, okay, you know how like when your internet's
But
really slow?
nobody pays for landline for phones anymore because we all
If
have
you're
mobile
under
phones.
15 and you're listening to this, you probably don't remember the age when dial-up existed. But we were at the tail end of that. I feel like when I was using the internet like as like a 6, 7, 8-year-old, we still had dial-up.
I know. I remember taking like 4 hours trying to load up a Kid's Next Door video game on my internet browser.
Oh, I used to go to LooneyTunes.com. Played those games. Those took forever.
When you were playing Monog, you knew when a cutscene was coming because it took a lot longer to load.
Yeah.
Well, there was the thing with Nog too, where it's like they legitimately had a high quality and a low quality version, just for people that didn't have high speed internet.
Yeah,
It was very kind of them.
I wasn't allowed on the internet until I was like 11.
Wow.
Like
That
That
reminds me because
I like had to sit there and like play on MS Paint and the Arthur game. Basically, Arthur is like this cartoon kids show.
Oh, like the
Oh
living
yeah,
books or
I
whatever?
remember Arthur.
Yeah.
I was a
Living
PBS
books ones?
kid.
Those were great.
I had
Oh
no
man, I
cable
used
at
to
the
play.
kid. So
What
PBS
was it called?
was
What was the one? Oh, what's the game Arthur plays in the episode that's about playing the computer game? He's like diving for treasure.
Yeah.
What is that
No.
game called?
I remember.
It's not Treasure Cove.
No. It's the one where
something
he's
else.
this pirate and you got to like dive for treasure. I totally remember this.
He's like a scuba diver. Yeah.
Yeah. There's
Oh,
a
what was
Bionic
that
Bunny
game
game
called?
too. Freaking Bionic Bunny. Good grief.
It's gonna drive me nuts if I can't. I gotta. Okay, I'm just gotta
Ponder it
Google-
over
Google
for the rest
away.
of the podcast. Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
we're,
alright.
we're googling this. We're googling this.
Okay, all right.
All right.
Let's see.
Well, I mean, talking about things that was an important part of our childhoods we want to revisit. You guys
I'm
want to?
having so much fun.
Dude, I remember playing like my first video game, and it was Dog's Life.
Oh, thanks,
oh yeah,
Phweffie.
what was it?
It was about being a dog and like defecating everywhere.
A dog's
Oh,
life.
okay.
Deep Dark Sea.
That's
what it was called.
Deep Dark Sea. That's the name of the game with the dog pooping all over the place.
No.
Remember
one
when you
Arthur
bought that
played in that one
Hamtaro game
episode.
instead of the Paraka? Good times.
Hamtaro,
I
man.
remember, I think it was a Disney game. I think it was called Toontown. Used to play
Yep.
it.
Yep.
That was
Played that
like one of
Town.
the first MMOs, wasn't
That
it?
was
I never
like-
played it.
Yeah.
The ones that
I think
able
it
to
was
play.
definitely my first MMO. I remember
Yeah.
playing it while watching Naruto, like on Toonami.
It was
Every
not one of the
Saturday.
first MMOs in history, but it was definitely one of the first ones I played. I played Toontown,
Yeah, that
Club
was like
Penguin.
the first one I played too.
There's another one I played back then. I forget.
Club
These like are
Penguin as
old,
well.
old memories. Club Penguin. I
used
remember
to
my
be a
friends.
member
were
of
R.I.P.
super
Club
into
Penguin.
Well, it's not dead yet.
Yeah, I know it's shutting down. It's crazy. I was always mad I wasn't able to play.
I was like,
Like,
Yeah, I
Universe.
don't know. I never played it. It never really intrigued me. So
I
Lego
used to
Uni- you know,
love
I
that
played
stuff.
it a little bit.
I
after
never
it
played
went
Lego
free.
Universe. I could run on my computer.
I
Oh, yeah, I
played it
couldn't
a
run
little
Lego
bit
Universe either.
after it went free to play. I actually did that really only so I could do the BZ Powercast because we were doing like a comparison
enough.
segment between it was me and I think it was Gatanui because they played it for a long time as a paid version. I was like, let's jump in as free to play. We can have like a comparison segment. I never played it again after that.
I wish I had, because it seemed like I can't really find too much footage of it online or anything.
If I had had a good computer, I probably would have. But I played the beta and I couldn't run it, and I was like, darn.
From what I remember, it was kind of lackluster, but I just don't like MMOs, so.
Yeah, I remember
same.
playing.
I couldn't figure out how to do it.
Like something like Neopets or something.
Neopets.
Neopets, I do remember that. I didn't play it. My sisters
I'm trying to
did.
remember what that is.
It's like
it's
a
like
like a
alien- it's
owned your little,
Tamagotchi?
yeah. You owned your little pet. You did your thing.
I swear I had Neopets. I'm just googling.
Oh,
Right
they were a big deal. I remember.
Yeah, I had Neopets.
Yeah. Everyone had Neopets.
I didn't.
I remember my
You
sisters.
remember Bionicle, dude?
Nah.
Like,
what
I
is
miss
that?
the
cool
old Bionicle.
commercials they used to play on like Nickelodeon and stuff.
What's a bonkle?
I feel
Oh
like
my gosh, I used to
Bionicle-
make music videos using the commercials.
So did Meso? Did you used to do that too?
Yeah, I did. Music
Yeah,
videos.
okay,
About
I was-
Yeah, but he didn't use the song "Bet on It" from High School Musical.
You're right. That took some clever crafting.
Oh my gosh, that thing is.
Bet on it, Bionicle music video.
Yep, Bet on it,
It is.
Bionicle music video. YouTube it.
It is.
Sounds
It is
really
a
good.
piece of work.
Dude, I
It is
was.
a piece
I
of
do.
work.
Whenever the Toa do their combined power, I always think we're all in this together.
Very representative of the person who made it.
No, I was too busy listening to Evanescence "Bring Me to Life." I'm not even kidding. That was like my first favorite song.
Oh
Wow.
boy.
Edgy.
You were destined for the edge.
Yeah, I was. I used to like run around when the song was on because I just got too excited.
Wake me up!
Wake me up!
You used to run around the playground singing that?
No, in my house.
Wake me
I used to turn it up on the TV and then like basically like jump around my living room like pretending I was like in some fight scene or something. Don't judge.
All right.
Weirdo. You're a little weirdo.
I'm
What do you
proud
think?
of being a
So, do we
weirdo.
want to switch gears?
I wanted to
Yeah,
switch gears.
I guess
Switch
so.
gears?
Sure, just cut
it-
the awesome
is it a Metal
discussion
Gear?
right here.
I'm asking you if we want to or not.
Like last time. No, you know what? We already made it this far. Bionicle G3, everybody.
All right, let's shift.
Let's do it.
Beforehand, let's do some plugs.
Let's do it.
And if you'll
Go,
permit
go,
me for
go,
a second,
go.
I'm gonna shift stuff around and do our Patreon shout out now because it actually ties into something that we'd like to announce. So for today's shout out, I'd like to give special thanks to one of our patrons, Rory Mann, aka Jazzman or Jazzman or D-Jazzman or any variation
DJ
thereof.
Jazzman.
Though
Yay.
technically Jazzman, one of our live studio audience members.
Except there's no laugh track
Audience,
because
get
they're
outta
muted.
here.
Because that's right, this is a new thing we're going to be doing from here on out. As you know, if you subscribe to our Patreon, I believe, any perk level, $1 will net you this. You're able to join our Discord server, where you can chat it up with TTV in a private Discord environment that's a lot easier to interact with than like on the message board or something. It's a lot easier to get your messages seen. It's kind of laid back, casual chat. We're now doing this thing where we're recording the podcast in this Discord server. So what happens is you're kind of like, it's kind of like a live stream, but for patrons without actually doing a live stream, if that makes any sense. If you're on when we're doing the podcast, you can pop in the call and you can't talk, but you can listen in live and post in the chat and we'll see your messages and you can comment and give feedback, etc. It's our way of saying thanks.
And since
for
we
being
are
awesome fans and
always in a
followers
call
and
about
supporters.
30 minutes ahead of time before the podcast, you get some little extra bonus. Like,
yeah, almost like an
talk-
after
Remember
show.
when we used to do the after show? Well, this is the before show.
yeah.
The
Except this
pre-show.
one we're not recording, so no one ever gets to.
Yeah,
Right, it's
great.
exclusive.
Even still, it's like it's a cool way to interact.
yeah, I
so.
think it's a really cool idea. I'm glad we're doing it.
And I think we haven't like actually decided. I think it's pretty safe to say we can do it for Brickfeed too.
Yeah,
9
yeah,
times
sure.
out of 10.
I would say so.
I would say so
And
too.
we record Brickfeed at a much more manageable time for people, I think, because
Right.
TTV records early at 11:30 Central Time on Saturdays, Saturday mornings technically, 'cause it's before noon. Brickfeed tends to record midday on Tuesday, not Saturday. So.
Very Tuesday. We kind of eat in the evening. Really, it's like 7 o'clock, 7:30.
Yeah.
If you would like to pledge anything at all to our Patreon, which is the goal, by the way, we've said in the past, we really appreciate all the people who donated large amounts because it helps a lot, but the way most Patreons are successful is when everybody donates a very small amount and they do it consistently. Like $1, if everybody on our subscriber base did it, we could make this into a full-time job.
Yeah.
So $1 will also net you this cool perk.
If you decided to like instead of buying a soda, just decided to give us a soda instead once a month, and if everyone in our channel did it, we would make enough to legitimately.
We would have no teeth.
yeah.
We could live off soda.
We could spend all that money on.
You could live off the
dentist
fat of the
bills.
land.
Oh, yes, a candy bar audience.
Right.
You could use that money to pay for a really good dentist.
Now I picture like this TTV parade where like all the fans are on the sidewalk and we're just parading down the street. We just got bottles of soda. We're just shaking them, just
Well, so
spraying everybody with
you
Mountain
can
Dew.
pledge of like a credit card. You can pledge of PayPal. You can pledge of all sorts of stuff.
And you get to join our Discord server and listen to us enjoying ourselves.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I
basically.
should crack open a can right now.
I'm gonna drink my soda right now. Mountain Dew, Mango Heat. I'm
my
addicted to it.
Yeah, no,
Wait,
he
did you say
legitimately
mango?
is.
It's too early for me
There's
to have
mango
this
Mountain
soda.
Dew. Yes, there is mango Mountain Dew, and yes, Meso is thoroughly addicted to it. Not even like as a joke addicted. He's legitimately addicted. Every
Like-
freaking day,
It's
I
not
come
never
on. He's
great.
freaking
I've
drinking
never
this
had a
stupid
pro-
Mountain
I've
Dew.
never even liked soft drinks. I'm 19 years old.
I
and
don't
I've
drink
never
soda
liked
anymore.
soft
I want
drinks.
to try mango Mountain
Up
Dew.
until now.
I have like my.
If you're talking about the same Mountain Dew flavor that I think you're talking about, I have no idea how you can drink that.
It's good, man.
What's it called?
Mango.
Mango Heat, Mountain
Mango
Dew.
Heat.
Oh,
I'm gonna see if I can find it.
Yeah,
'cause I
like
haven't
that
tried
was
it yet.
something.
Yes, I have drinking this
You guys will
before.
probably not like it near as much as I do.
You're a crazy person.
Is it bad?
I will be
wanna
honest,
try it.
it's starting to like its welcome is starting to wear off after like
Oh no, he
hold
needs
on,
a
hold on.
stronger hit.
seventh carton.
Just real quick here before we get into Bionicle D3. Var, do you like mango drinks? Usually, do you like mango?
Mango
flavored
can
stuff?
be okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
it depends.
I
Mango's
love
like
mango stuff.
My
but
favorite, man. Well,
Yeah.
strawberry first, but mango like a close
Strawberry milk is life.
mango, I feel is like the best.
Strawberry milk, my man.
Dude.
the
cherry.
best flavor.
Oh
out
my
there.
gosh, one time I choked on strawberry milk so hard I was breathing it the rest of the day.
What?
Every
Oh, that's happened to me before.
like you know when stuff gets into your lungs and you you gotta cough it out.
No.
I had choked so hard. You've never swallowed something the wrong way.
I know.
I
I go through
mean-
that like almost every podcast. Hack coughing fit.
No, like I haven't like got something in my lungs. No, I've swallowed something like I mean I've swam and I've been like that's about it.
You've never been drinking anything and just accidentally swallowed it wrong.
I know what Takuma's talking
I've like
about.
coughed, yeah, but
I
I
know
haven't
what
like
you're
I
talking
haven't
about.
like
I know what
swallowed.
you're
No,
it.
guys, what we should all
Coming
do is
back up.
pretend like Takuma's crazy and isn't know
No.
who he's
Oh,
talking
shut
about.
up.
I'm not gonna play your game. I'm gonna openly say that is a horrible sensation. I remember
My
I
name
was
is
a
Phweffie
kid,
and I'm a
I was
survivor.
drinking some I was drinking some Fanta and I was downing it and then something funny happened and I started laughing and before I know it there was Fanta pouring out of my
You're
nostrils.
choking it up.
Oh boy.
Oh my gosh. You know what's
And it was all
worse?
fizzy up
Raisin
in my
bran
sinus.
coming out your nose.
What?
I'm not
Why
gonna.
would you?
Yeah,
How
no.
did you? Okay, Bionicle
Someone made me
D3.
laugh.
Did you eat something the wrong way?
like
Were you
Raisin
like
Bran
eating and
with
you swallowed
boogers.
and it came out of your
Raisin
nose?
bread in your lungs.
It didn't get in my lungs, it went up my nasal passages. There's a difference.
like-
So do
Raisin
your
Bran with
lungs turned
boogers.
into raisins?
That ain't so amazing.
No,
No,
because
no,
I'm not
no,
a vacuum.
No. All right.
I don't even know what to say anymore. I
Yeah.
Oh,
lost. I
thanks for
don't know.
donating to our Patreon, guys, and go
Yeah,
to our message
basically.
boards at board.ttvchannel.com.
Yeah,
That's
they.
it.
Yeah.
I think he
That
like
sounded really
absorbed
condescending.
some raisin
Good
bran.
TVChannel.com.
I
See you
think
later on the
somebody
Disney
snorted
Channel.
some raisin bran before they said that.
You're watching Disney Channel.
loser. All right, see ya.
All right.
Next up is Wizards of Waverly Place.
Okay, so Bionicle G3 for the last month or so, month and a half, we've been trying to plan out our ideal Bionicle revival. Now, February's begun, a new month full of new ideas and new discussion. As a recap, what we basically determined thus far, mostly everybody in the cast is on the same page, that if it comes back, it needs to come back as system. We've had debates as to what kind of minifigures we would prefer in that kind of a style, but everybody agrees mostly system is the way to go. Although not necessarily abandoning construction entirely.
On that note, we are having a contest for Bionicle system sets on our boards. Again, board.ttvchannel.com. This contest is going through, I believe, next week. So you
I guess
do
the
have
12th is when it ends,
the
right?
12th, right? Yeah. So you do have a little bit of time to enter this, depending on when you're listening to this podcast. Even if you don't, you should take a look at it anyways. We will be doing a special about it, going over all the entries and the notable ones. But there are some stellar arguments for why Bionicle should be a system theme. Sometimes it's when you say Bionicle system, you're thinking, I don't know if that would work. But we have seen stuff. We have seen stuff coming out from this contest that is legitimately good. Legitimately,
I'll put it to you this way.
I have
The
zero
best
doubts
way
about it
to,
being a system now.
The best way to explain how this contest makes me feel is that beforehand, I didn't want Bionicle to come back. I feel like, I've expressed that in the past. It's better with the fans. LEGO doesn't know how to handle it. They've botched it several times. I now want Bionicle to come back. I really do. Because there's a lot of potential to be had in the system form. Seeing what people have done, seeing what kind of life it could have in that system, I think it would be
right? It's been a real
extraordinary.
eye-opener.
It honestly
It's revitalized a lot of faith.
And I'm glad we did it so that I feel like a lot of the fandom was on your same page, Meso. They're still kind of I don't want to see it. I want to do a second poll after we're done and seeing after the results of this contest, how many people are open to the idea of Bionicle system.
Totally, because I love
because of
Construction to death, but it has a negative
Same.
stigma, and it could
Yeah,
break from that if it comes back as system. And it could,
I feel like
skyrocket
Bionicle's whole thing
in
is a
height.
story. I'm okay with it. Now, the only thing that I'm concerned about is the minifigures, but we've talked about that at length for the last couple
X is
podcasts.
still working on his custom decal, so
Right.
we'll hopefully have that to show off in the coming
Hopefully
weeks. But
we-
for now,
That'd be cool.
Hopefully we can.
for now, we've basically discussed the sets. Today, we would like to break into the story once more, or at least the theme past the sets. At least get some discussion going on that front.
All right.
Where should we start, John?
Well, I've got some pitches for you guys. I don't know who else actually came up with a pitch. Is it just me?
Go for
I
it,
came up
yo.
with an elaborate pitch. No, I
Oh,
didn't.
well, I'm glad to hear that.
did come up with
Anyone
it.
else have anything before I launch into mine?
I'm here
I want to throw you in a ditch.
I'm here to steal your ideas.
That's my
so
pitch.
continue.
Okay.
I mean, I've got a whole idea of something planned out, but it's more of a continuation of G2 than G3, and it's something I might want to use in the future.
Yeah.
Don't spoil
I
it
would
then.
I would say that if we're gonna do this, it should it's the same be thing. It should be a hard reboot. That whole deal not be tied into it. Okay, so I have two different pitches. Okay, so we can go with either one. The first one is the one I've been talking about beforehand, and it's basically the idea that the Toa are Matoran beforehand. Essentially, so me and Phweffie were discussing this the other day too. Where
Yep.
one of the things that I feel about the Matoran is that they were. I felt they were a little too helpless in terms of what they were doing with the power set. I thought that perhaps the way it would work is that Matoran, whenever they're kids, as they kind of grow older, they do manifest a little some off powers based on their element. For instance, even in G1, the Matoran had some powers, quote unquote, based off their element. Matoran obviously had more powers than the rest, but Matoran were resistant to fire. Matoran could hold their breath longer underwater and swim better. They all had these little traits to them. So the idea would be that it's kind of like that. It's a bit more varied. Some of the Tamatoran are able to do certain things with fire, create little torches or something, or do little elemental tricks, but nothing all too grand. Except for the Toa. Our six main characters would have no signs of actually having any of that power, and of course, throughout the story, they would then gain the elemental Toa power that they had. They traditionally have. Benefits of this, of course, we already have an install base of characters. All the characters already have a relationship with other characters. So it's not like we're just having a bunch of characters come in and we don't really, we have the Matoran group and we have the Toa group and they don't really interact. Because the Toa are Matoran and because they're so closely, intertwined in Matoran culture, it feels more like people from this world are getting powers as opposed to these aliens are coming in and kind of messing all this up. So that's
I
pitch
think
one.
that is important. Before you even get into your second pitch, I'll say that if I would say that it is important in order for the story to function at its prime, if we do the whole Matoran become Toa thing.
Right. I think so too, but then I came up with another pitch and I was like, okay, yeah, maybe.
Okay.
What do you guys think? Any comments on that so far?
Wait,
we
so-
can come back to it later.
Did you say that the Matoran that would end up becoming Toa don't have any powers that are manifested?
They not until they become the Toa, or no, they become Toa, but because they don't have the little abilities.
So I mean,
what you're saying-
just to clarify though, because it sounded like you mentioned that other Matoran do have powers. So the ones that end up becoming the Toa
small
are the
ones.
ones that do not have powers at all.
Right.
So they're outcasts, sort of.
In a sense, yeah. But I mean, not
Okay,
not
that's
to the
interesting.
extreme ability, but like to the point where like almost like they're late bloomers is what everyone's just assuming.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, not
Okay,
outcasts.
I just wanted to make sure I understood that correctly.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Here's number 2.
Next one.
Number 2 is that there is on the island of Madanui, Sasha Kyoto, we can decide which one or whatever. The 6 Toa arrive. The 6 Toa arrive. They meet up. They all have the elemental powers. They all do the stuff. The entire island is asleep. And so what they have to do is that they have to go and find and basically awaken each village bit by bit through the events of the story. There's 6 villages, so there's 12 months in a year. So every 2 months there'd be a new section of the story released where the Toa go to this village, and they basically they awaken it, and then all this stuff happens as a part of that. And like you can do like a whole 2 months worth of world building and stuff with the Toa in that village, kind of trying to awake it's almost like it's frozen in time. Basically, it'd be tied into the Mask of Time, of course. So they unfreeze that village to get to know the culture, everything, and they move on to the next village. They work on that. Each there's like basically 6 parts to this story because they're each going to different villages. We're able to do the world building, etc., based on this first year. As we're being introduced to everything slowly, and we can like put it out in waves where it's like
by the village being frozen in time. What do you mean?
Like so it's they go into the village and like it's like if literally the village was just kind of like frozen and
So like there's no one living there.
People are living there, just frozen. Not
So,
they're
like-
living there, quote unquote. It's like everyone was had the normal day and they're all frozen.
Okay, so it's not like they're all like lying on the ground actually sleeping. It's
No.
just kind of like they're all in
Like
stasis.
Pokemon Mystery Dungeon.
Sure.
Sort of
Oh
like
yeah.
what is that ancient like city that was like killed off by a volcano? Pompeii.
Like Pompeii.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pompeii.
yeah, kind of
Like
sounds
a-
like Pompeii almost.
Like a
Except
time
in this
right.
thing, it would probably also be like everyone's in stasis, but also like no wind is blowing,
Right.
the leaves aren't moving. It's just like
Yeah, everything's like
dull and lifeless.
The entire
everything's in, like
completely
suspended
lifeless.
in like a paused moment of time.
Sounds neat.
Right.
My main concern would just be that the story would go repetitive.
Yeah, I
because
was
it's
about
been
to.
6 times over the
Dang, you
course of the year.
stole my
Well, okay,
thunder.
so-
I'm sorry, Phweffie. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's not that too bad.
will be.
Right.
Yeah.
So, right. I feel like I was thinking this too. I think there'd be an overlying plot with Makuta that would start to build in terms of like the conspiracy and who, what happened with these people and what was going on. That would be built upon and revealed over the course of this. And they would also have to go through different trials or different things to unlock each village each time.
Who's to say that you can't do both? There's already a precedent where after like a year's worth of time or 2 years worth of time, Bionicle characters leave their current location and go to another one. So
you're right.
who's to say you couldn't start off this
Island
Bionicle?
hopping.
Yeah, island hopping.
That could-
Start off this G3 with this whole Matoran idea, that aspect. Go through with that, and then as they become the Toa, they traverse to another land where this land is in stasis, and that's another one of the things they have to challenge.
That totally could do.
take on.
Alternatively, we could like combine the two and have these Matoran that don't have any powers be the only ones that aren't frozen, and they're like, "Why is this?" And they meet each other up, and then they try to work and see if they can unfreeze these villages again. So we still have the Toa isolated for a decent amount of time, but we do have them interact with the villagers because they already know them. There is a whole like movement in order to to have the world building evolve over that course of time.
Interesting thought.
I like the 2 different years idea more.
I think it's important to have island hopping in Bionicle if we hope to have it run for a long period of time.
I don't
Because the
disagree
trick
with you.
that G1 always had was making the locations interesting.
I think like the problem is that like we do need to devote at least even a good amount of world building or a couple years to each location. I think that was the detriment.
Agreed.
Mount Nui is the best one because we got 3 years to it. Then we got Metro Nui for 1 year technically, but we were kind of.
But then you could
away
also
from
say
it.
we got 2 years for Akoto. that was planned for 3 years. But after the end of the second year, I can't say that the third year would have really done much to make Akoto this incredible island.
Well, the art book was really nice, so got that going for it.
Which
Yeah, but are you
had
gonna cram
Bionicle
all of-
had Bionicle not ended, we probably wouldn't have gotten that art book.
That's true, and I feel like going into it, there is something to be said about the amount of world building you do doesn't necessarily amount in the year. You can still create a whole world in a year and continue to.
In my
update that.
idyllic Bionicle G3 would have weekly or bi-weekly website updates with a small piece of concept art and like a little text blurb.
I would say
some part of the
weekly.
world.
So here's my idea when it comes to weekly. Obviously, easier said than done. But I would say that like every week there would be, even though website updates, social media updates, it wouldn't even need to be accompanied by a image. Some of them would be, and that would be really nice. But most of them would just be text blurbs, and they would be about random things, almost like a snippet from a Wikipedia article in this world, right? Like they would be like quick summaries and stuff.
Here's
that's
some
kind of
crazy
building.
tree. Here's some ancient runes.
Right,
Here's
exactly.
some weird
Yeah, exactly.
creature.
It's
Here's
or like
some
even just
kind
like
of
process. It's like
weapon making.
You
can even break it down,
Koju,
like-
the rope maker. Starts his day by going to the thing and finding
Yeah,
vines
and
turning
if
ropes.
we're assuming that we're sticking with the whole, they're going to different villages every 2 months, then they could fill website updates with like that village theme. Like it could be
That's what I thought.
The
That's
month
what I
of
thought was a
water.
great thing.
Goal.
Is like if they're
And-
going to different villages, they could fill like we had the month of fire, so we could have 2 months devoted to building out the fire village and what it looks like
Right.
and what life.
So
is
instead of
like.
just getting one piece of concept art, we actually get like more information regarding the village
Right.
or the region of fire.
And utilizing world building in that way, we could get away with having multiple locations. Obviously not like one after the other. We should give time to devote to building out these islands. But we could get away with doing like island hopping after a few years.
I don't mind as long as the island is distinct. I feel like that was part of the reason some of the locations were cool, but they didn't have a distinctness to them in terms of the world building. Like, Mari Nui is a cool idea, but we never actually see anything from it. Voya Nui
Totally
Voya Nui is an interesting thing because like there are parts in it that's iconic, like the giant volcano.
We had a
and the-
few iconic landscapes.
But the village
the island
is-
was terrible.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, it
the
looked like- it
village.
looked like
I
someone-
remember zero of it.
Do you know what it reminded me of? It reminded like someone like had taken a bite out of it. It was like a circle,
It's
and
like,
someone
it's
was
like a
like,
sandwich or a cookie,
bit,
and like
yeah.
someone
Yeah,
just
right.
chopped out. Like,
Exactly.
That was it.
Cardanui basically is just like that village is just non-existent to me.
I liked Cardanui.
I feel like the closest they
it-
came,
Spend more
was-
time there.
the closest
it
they
was,
came was like Metronui, where I was like, okay, well there is some decent amount of world building going here. They did have those the point and click titles where like you had to find the Matorn, your Vakama and stuff.
I do feel like Metronui was a vast landscape that actually had people living in it.
And I feel like the thing about Metronui is that like Metronui legitimately feels like a new location. The
Yeah.
rest felt like just like Voyanui specifically felt like another island, and we already have an island, so why would we need another island?
Yeah.
So I'm totally on board for island hopping as long as we can have a new location that makes sense. That like that actually is like, okay, this is a completely separate thing we could not have on Madanui.
Yeah.
now I just
I
want
guess
like
the question.
oh sorry, now I was just
No,
gonna
you go
say
first.
now I just want an MMO now where you can move from island to island.
In a perfect world, yes.
Yeah, sure.
They
I would
called
love
that Pirates of
too.
the Caribbean Online. Then they killed it on Talk Like a Pirates Day.
They should.
Rip.
They should.
You know what was a good piece of media though that I think helped with like Metro Nui's world building
What?
was honestly those puzzle games for each Toa.
That's what I was talking about. Yeah.
Heck
I
yeah,
don't
those
remember
things were dynamite.
These
Like
are-
there were
those
so
are
many different
decent.
locations to visit in those. Like
Right.
Yeah, you're right. Huh?
Yeah, I
They
love
they had each
I never
one
played
for
those.
each metro, and those are like the little point and click puzzle games, and you could see like the environment and stuff that was in there. I thought
it was
really
pretty
cool.
genius.
I desperately think that if Metro Nui had a like Modern Nui online game type of game for it, it would be on the list of the most iconic. People would prefer Metro Nui. Some people would prefer Metro Nui to Modern Nui, honestly, because we just
Maybe
didn't get
so.
that world filled out. We don't really know how it worked and stuff.
I guess
Tempo
the real
Studios.
question to help us solve our conundrum here is, so we have the frozen in time idea, and then we have the Matoran become Toa kind of idea. If we wanted to save frozen in time for arc number 2, what would be the threat in arc number 1? And if we can't figure out one in arc number 1, we can just use that for arc number 1.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Because I want to do something different from like the
Well-
deities are asleep. We have to save them.
I mean-
Monsters are attacking the villages.
I have a really quick idea that just pops in my head immediately, but it's not really a good one. I can already say, but it's like, okay, okay, so year 2 they've gotten to an island where it's all in stasis or whatever. What if year 1 they were trying to avoid that happening to their home? So they have to stop it happening, and then next year they go
it's like
somewhere
a
else and they have to
plague almost.
undo it.
Spreading across
a time bomb spreading across the.
I mean, the bottom line is, there's this big threat, they've come to, freeze our island in time or whatever. Hey, we defeated him. But now there's this other island that he already defeated, we need to go save them. And so
Makes sense logically. I'm just not sure how interesting that would be.
Yeah, it feels like it's two different things, but at the same time it's the same thing, so it could get kind of boring or repetitive.
Maybe.
Or just,
I think I mean
not enough new stuff.
I do feel like the first we have 3 legendary masks, right? The reason I'm wanting to do time for this one is because the first one very much relied on the Ignika, the Mask of Life. That was Generation 1. Generation 2, the Mask of Creation was front and center, the mask. And so for Generation 3, we should try to think about what we should do for the Mask of Time, and like how that would tie into the thing. I feel like that would.
And again, I've got like this whole big idea that I could of this idea behind the Mask of Time and everything, but I feel like I'm gonna want to use that at some point, maybe even for the radio drama thing. But
Fair enough.
But I mean, so that's what I would say would be like a concept. If we were able to combine those 2 ideas or something. I don't know.
Let me ask this.
All right.
For year 1,
Right.
would we want to do something different, or would we want to deliberately play upon the nostalgia of having evil
episode
animals, having like animals attack the villages that have been controlled by stuff? Because that could be, it's useful from 2 perspectives. In the story, it's what people are familiar with. It's how it's opened twice now. And it also enables for the little brick-built set in Rahi to be in the set.
If
That
removing
being
the
said,
system, I would say it's almost a
maybe just-
necessity.
Okay.
Maybe just change.
and they need to be
the,
dinosaurs.
Was it change the? What's the word I'm looking for?
I believe in
The
you, Vin. You got
context.
this.
Change the context behind the sets, what the sets represent. Because in the sets, I'm thinking, yeah, we can still have the Rahi confrontations and stuff, but the context won't be the same as before, where the Rahi are going out actively attacking villages. Maybe it could be something completely different, like say the Toa or whoever characters we're going to revolve the story on, confront the Rahi as part of a challenge. Like maybe they're seeking out these confrontations themselves.
So
Kinda
like the creatures except hostile and not friendly, basically.
Yeah.
Could work out fun.
That actually could be a thing where it's like, I mean,
theme
imagine if
kind
the
of-
elemental creatures were evil, right? And that would be that's like a conflict.
I mean, stuff like that is the
Something-
best
A theme
set,
along the lines of Johnny Quest.
I've never watched that, so
I mean,
Okay, maybe not
sets
Johnny
like
Quest
that
or,
and that style would work the best, I think, because that's kind of how Lego does
Right.
the formula. You'd have the little brick-built shrine with like the mask that they're guarding, and then you have to defeat the evil mind-controlled Rahi and like knock off the mask, etc. It's like it practically writes itself.
Right.
It's just familiar. But
I would
that
say,
thing
yeah.
in system it would
With
be
that,
way.
you get the sets that are familiar to us with the confrontation with the Rahi and stuff, and that leaves you open to make the next year about something more similar to Bionicle's original story.
I do think, okay, so there's several, yeah, I feel like I do like the idea of having the Rahi be a part of the sets integrally. I do think over time that I was thinking this, I think combining the 2 ideas, I think the main reason why I'm thinking this is that Bionicle's first year, for all it did right, the actual overall plot was probably the weakest part of it.
Are we talking
the whole
G1 or
thing-
G2?
G1.
Okay.
G1's like first year is like basically the Rahi attack, and then turns out Makuta is the person behind this, and then they Toa seal him, except they don't. They just like all use their elemental powers against him once, and then his shadow tendril thing disappears. And long
Didn't
story
really make a lot
short,
of
yeah,
sense.
I do think that we could actually tie both. I think the Rahi could be a part of the the attacking force, and that's why they have to wake up the island. Remember, these Toa they're different than the ones beforehand. If we're combining these two ideas, these are Toa, these
What
are
if we pulled a
Matoran.
mope and it was like the island has been frozen in time, and in order to save it, the Toa have to go seek out the fragments of the Mask of Time, which is
Right,
shattered, and the
That's
Rahi are guarding them.
That's exactly it. Yeah, the Rahi are either
And if
guarding
they
him
can
or the Rahi
restore
are
the
like,
mask, then they can save the
Yeah,
island.
if anything,
Also,
and what I was also thinking, if we were gonna have the premise where these creatures are actively going on and attacking the villages, maybe that would be like the aftermath of the Toa successfully capturing all the stuff. Like the Rahi are trying to
Kind of a
get
Borak
to
situation?
recover those fragments back. Yeah, kind of like the Borak in a
Borak
sense.
were effective. They were very.
If
Or,
anything, that
I
would be
could
a
actually-
way to introduce the Borak.
How about like
Yeah.
there's a whole thing like I like the idea of the Borak. I mean, we could actually just push this in the first year as well. The reason why they're frozen is because the Rahi are coming to clean or the Rahi are the Borak aren't just like one specialized thing. The Borak mentality is spread to all this Rahi, right? The Rahi are coming to cleanse the island of the Matoran. And so the entire villages are frozen, and the Rahi are coming to
Matoran
destroy
are a
everything.
plague that
Right,
needs to be
Matoran are a plague that need to be
eradicated, basically.
exactly.
What if the Borak weren't actually like the swarm? What if they were like just a few individuals that can command?
Right,
other
exactly.
beings?
Almost like
So
the
like the elite Rahi in a sense.
possibly. No, I mean we could have
that
we
would-
could
like
okay.
Beast
Not a
Tamer.
bad
Imagine
idea.
how how like
That'd be cool.
the Lord of Skull Spiders had that golden mask, and we thought it was going to be like a massive control kind of thing.
We thought it
Never
was going to be
forget
anything
Golden Mask
significant.
of the Skull Spider.
You know what? Don't even make them Borak. Make them Rakshi. Let's bring back the Rakshi, guys.
honestly,
Let's make the Rakshi.
I would say-
Rakshi
okay.
warmongers.
I would say we have the name the Rakshi, except they're not clone sets. Do you remember like the Lord of Skull Spiders? How there's a humanoid version of that where he had
Yes.
like the spider body, the spider like lower body, and the upper half is a human. We could combine that concept with a bunch of the other characters as well. So we have one that's a spider. We have one that's like a dragon. We have one like half
Minotaur?
human. Yeah, like a
Yeah,
minotaur.
Minotaur,
Exactly.
that'd be cool.
Like different. We combine that with that concept with different. And so the Rakshi are still these formidable foes, but they're actually they have more specialized designs.
And going with this whole Beast
Exactly.
Tamer motif, it would also make the last year's set not irrelevant because they could still like command them or like more of the same type because
They
their
still have
original
story
Rahi are
relevance.
just horde.
Oh, man.
Yeah, basically.
You guys mentioned Minotaurs. I'm like, nah, man, screw that. You got a Nukalavi in there.
No, listen, we
guys ever
can.
heard of the
I would
Nukalavi?
say that
I
we
told
would.
you about it.
We could legitimately combine these concepts together and create like these monsters that were also these kind of sentient people who believe that the island should be wiped out and that the thing should start again. That could be a thing like for this generation's Makuta. It could be like that motivation where like life is a mistake and it was a plague and let's just wipe everything.
Wipe the slate.
finds a
clean,
way.
Start again.
But like that could
this.
definitely be something. We talked a bit years and years ago about if we rebooted about there being a cult of Makuta. Like the Brotherhood of Makuta was literally like a cult dedicated to Makuta and his like his passion and this kind of thing. So that could also come back into play where there's like this underlying threat of a cult
Right.
that kind of believes that life is a plague on
So
this
riddle
island.
me this: in this hypothetical G3 scenario,
Right.
year one involves trying to save the villages that have been frozen in time by recovering the fragments of the Mask of Time,
Right.
and they're being guarded by Makuta, quote unquote, minions.
Right.
Year two involves the more elite versions, the Rakshi coming to do what? What is their goal?
Actually, I mean, if I'm being honest, I was thinking about them. This is all in the same year, like the same year or 2 year period. Like the story would be spread out over
So
2 years.
Rakshi are wave two?
Rakshi would be wave 2. Yeah,
Okay, so still part of year one.
still part of year 1,
Alright.
essentially.
Makes sense. In which case, what would year two be?
Year 2. So we're gonna go with a standard 3 year thing, right?
Yes, at least to start with.
So here's what we could do. We could do the island hopping, or we could stay and see what else is on the island. Or we could do a thing where it's like connected to the island and yet not. Like
we should definitely not hop islands after 1 year.
Okay, so let's think about this,
Definitely
right?
not.
Metro Nui was this was the whole concept was like it was underneath Mata Nui. So let's do the thing where they're just like they did in G2 there's an ancient city underground. And there's this whole group of people that are kind of like sealed underground and everything. And so there's this whole other deal
Kinda
going
like
on.
Mountain Glen from Ruby, in a sense, except better done.
Sure, cool, yeah. And so they would still
I
be
don't
connected.
remember that.
It would be
Underneath the
smaller. It
ground.
would be smaller than Metro Nui, but it would still be this thriving city, this different kind of environment underground that they go to. Or
Are they
conversely,
Matoran or are they some new race?
they could be a new race too.
Hashtag Skull Raiders. No.
They could be different types of. We could bring out different species, Skakti, and all the other different races. We could also do something like maybe maybe something either below, or it could be even in the clouds. Like imagine there's a floating city.
I thought of that and I was like, yeah.
I like that idea a lot in terms of a floating city, like the kind of the inverse of Voya Nui, where like how Voya Nui had Mari Nui sink all the way below. It could be the other way around, where like there used
Mari
to be a
Nui
city
had a
kind
lot of
like,
really interesting
elevated.
rules and like guidelines to their world. They just didn't spend
Yeah.
enough time. Like the whole concept of like having to get air bubbles to like venture out and like
Yeah. It was like it's an
Harvest-
interesting
literally
idea,
harvesting
but
air.
they just didn't do much with
so
it.
we could do one of those things where it's like it's another civilization or like even another race, and it's not a new island, but it's connected. It's a different place of the island, different area of the island that they haven't really found yet.
Okay.
What if there was like some chunk of the island that was just like inaccessible throughout the first year, whether it's from some big energy bubble or some other means?
It could be, or there could be like an actual like time bubble around that thing, and like it's always been
Yeah.
around, and people haven't noticed it. And
I
then
guess
once
really what I'm
they
wondering-
unlock everything with the Mask of Time, then they're able to access that.
I mean that makes sense. I guess I'm really just wondering if we're going with the idea that they're able to recompile the Mask of Time in year 1. Where does that leave the rest of the 3-year plan? Like, what's the goal? If time is the key, and they already have the Mask of Time, what are they? I'm just trying to brainstorm. Like, what would they be striving to achieve per se? With that may require some more
That's a
thought.
good question.
Maybe each year they need to collect a different mask that would
I like that part about G2.
that would each solve something wrong with the world. So say year 1's about being frozen in time, so they collect the Mask of Time. Year 2, the island is also shrouded in darkness, so they collect the Mask of Light. Year 3, the island's dying, so they collect the Mask of Life, or something like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's derivative, but I think that concept works best for Bionicle, having a mask. That
Yes,
was one thing
I
I
do.
really
Each
did
year. Yeah, I
appreciate
do.
about G2.
Yeah.
They did do
They
it.
each had a powerful mask each year that you could like kind of combine.
It made you want to collect it, basically. Like,
Yeah.
oh, this is the big thing for the year. So, sure, maybe not necessarily those exact masks. I know you use those because they're familiar, and it does make sense that way.
Yeah,
I'm down for that.
I do agree that there should be at least some kind of like powerful mask that
I do-
Mattel are trying to
Some
come up
kind
we
of
could
holy
bring
grail.
back
Yeah,
back the Toa Kaida too. Like imagine there's 3 masks and the Toa have to combine to use.
Oh yeah.
For as
There
awesome
was
as
one
the
for
Toa
Comic-Con.
Kaida seemed in G1, I felt like they weren't utilized enough.
They totally
Right.
weren't. They were dropped like almost right out the gate.
They were, and it's like it's so frustrating to me
sad.
because I felt that they should have come back in 2008 or like when they were focusing on the Toa Nuva again.
Yeah,
and I was
like,
oh,
instead
just
of-
bring back.
Or the
Instead of doing like
20
2008's like reskin of the Toa or like the redesign of the Toa, they should have just done like the Toa Kaita, but I can understand why they didn't,
something.
because of the
Yeah.
amount of
Yeah.
sets. The set count would be lower.
It made sense for them to drop them after the initial Toa/Toa Nuva arc because the Toa Metru, first time around they're all new. They're going to use their powers. They don't have that unity. Second time around they're a bunch of beasts. They're not in a place to be able to, connect like that.
So all right, so
It's a
let's
distinct lack of unity throughout kind of their entire story span.
think about.
After that, no reason why we shouldn't have.
Yeah. Actually, I think
agree.
that might be a cool thing where like 2 Toa have to like kind of fuse together. It's kind of how Takuma and Makuta did, and how it was 3 Toa in the original. But I feel like because we have 3 years and we have 6 Toa, we could do 2, 2, 2. Unless we decided, like, we were talking beforehand about cutting one of the Toa and there only being 5 characters. So
come back to that.
Yeah, we do have to come back to that at some point. But just like as a concept, we'll come back on this.
We'll
touch on it later.
combine Kopaka and Pohatu, and together they can be
Kohatu.
Kotu.
Kopatu.
but like together, like
Kopatu.
all their powers combined, etc. And what I'm actually thinking is that like the combined versions of Toa Kaida could actually be like the mech built kind of system thing. You know what I'm saying?
That would be dynamite.
Yeah, and then they actually have the Mask of Time, and the Mask of Creation, and the Mask of Life.
Oh
There
yeah, the construction set could be like
that
or
also
even
could
just
be.
like a Mixel joint kind of.
I think in Mixel joint, but we could. I mean, there could be both.
There was a Bionicle entry that had some dynamite Toa Keita.
Yeah.
I love it. Love it so much. Well, all right.
wow, that's awesome. All right, there's definitely a lot to think about and digest. So
Do we want to end it there?
I mean, sure.
Probably.
Anyone have any preference to one of these ideas? What stands out to you, Var? Like, what's a?
I think all these ideas sound great together. I feel like there's a way to implement pretty much everything that's been suggested here into one line and have it be pretty successful. So, yeah, I don't know. I think there's a lot to think about. I think I would want to go back and listen to this again and sort of like streamline everything and
Definitely.
Right.
put the pieces together.
We should definitely be like, next week. We should be like ironing out all the kinks and being like, what is this? What's
Our
not?
major thinking point for between podcasts should be what the goal of this initial 3-year run is. What's the overarching plot?
Right.
We know that Makuta wants to cleanse the island of villagers, but how will he go about doing that after we unfreeze the island, and what exactly are the Toa's goals to stop?
Right.
That should be our thoughts.
Right.
And we can tweak the ideas if necessary. Obviously. But so far, this has been a productive little episode of ours. So thank you all very much for listening to episode 233 of the TTV podcast. It's been great. Stay tuned next week as we continue our journey into Bionicle G3. And as always, thank you for your support. Feel free to check us out on the message boards at board.ttvchannel.com and share your thoughts on how you would like Bionicle G3 to be handled, or in the comments section below. And additionally, finally, you can check out our Patreon at patreon.com/the TTV channel and consider supporting us in any capacity in order to receive a bunch of cool perks. The new one being introduced this episode is obviously if you pay $1 or above, you get access to our Discord server where you will now be able to listen to the podcast live as it is being recorded and live commentary.
And I gotta say, this first little test that we've done here, I've really enjoyed it. The commentary on the chat
commentary
is really
in the
fun
chat.
to read.
Yeah.
It is really cool having that live feedback, to be honest.
Yeah, it's like I noticed there were a lot of instances where like we were on the cusp of like thinking of something, like we were trying to like remember what something's called, for example, or something, and then someone
Like
in the chat
clog?
says it. Yes, exactly. And someone in the chat said it. It's like, oh, there we go. It was great.
It was
It's
really
like
cool.
those comments we get after we record the podcast
Yeah.
being given to us before we record the podcast.
Exactly. Right.
know?
Yeah. It's actually
pretty neat.
It's a nice way to fact check. So I'm really excited about this.
For now,
It's real
though,
fun.
that is all for today's episode of TTV. Stay tuned next week, and goodbye. I'm Meso.
I'm Verderan.
I'm Jonathan.
I'm Ben.
I'm Phweffie.
I'm Takuma Nuva.
And to the untrained ear, I'm also Takuma Nuva. I'm just kidding. Totally Invictus.
Oh man, thank you all for watching, and we'll see you all next week. Goodbye.
All right.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Will you be my mommy?